Do it.
Welcome, everyone. We got Gabe here today, and he's going to share a little bit more on his journey and transformation with Six Pack CEO and doing the Kinetic method. So, welcome and good to have you on, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to unpack my journey.
Absolutely. So, before we dive into the fitness stuff, give us a little bit of background, who you are, what do you do, age, height, weight, schedule, so people get the full picture of your
Mhm.
situation.
Okay. So, like most people who are likely going to watch this, I am busy. I'm using quotes. Like I'm a busy CEO. I'm a busy entrepreneur, and so I run a couple of different companies. I have teams. I have a family. I have a home to maintain. I have all those other excuses that everybody else has. Um, that being said, health and wellness has been a focus of mine for, I would say, the last 5 years. And so I make time to do those things. I make time to do what is required to stay healthy and fit. So, my first, I don't know, half decade as an entrepreneur, I was not focused on my health. I was focused on building businesses, and my health suffered. I realized halfway through I needed to shift gears if I wanted to do this for a long time, which I do, and I intend to. I needed to focus on my health. And so that shift took place about 5 years ago. And so I started doing a lot of the things that most of us do. I eat clean, I buy organic, all that. I avoid the sugars, the seed oils. But that being said, I was still plateauing, which I'm sure we'll talk more about. Um, as far as me personally, physically, I am 43, 5'9", and I came in weighing 168, and I am 155 at the time of this recording. And those are my like rough measurements.
I love it. Let's go right into the plateau, right? So when you came to us, you initially came just for the blood work and did a consult with Joey. And that's where you saw that, and we saw actually first that you were really dialed in with many things. You had like the Google Sheets, the spreadsheets, like you're very data oriented, tactical, detailed with everything, but you still hit a wall, right? As you said. What do you think happened there that caused that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. Like so I've been getting regular and routine labs for the 5+ years that I've been focused on my health. But that practitioner who was scripting me those labs and reviewing those labs with me, he wasn't doing what Joey does for us. Like he just wasn't double clicking and going deep on the biomarkers. He wasn't looking for how things, the interplay between two and three things on different pages. When you get your labs back, it's pages long. A lot of times, like a typical physician will just look for the three things that they know to look for. Well, Joey's different, right? Like he was looking for a lot of other things, and he found a lot of things that worked, that were interconnected, that had gone unknown for many years, despite me getting routine labs. So I think that led to my plateau. Another thing I think was that I set the standard super high early. I met that standard, and then slowly I kind of just lulled myself to sleep. So like I'll own that piece of it. It's just um, I wanted to do Iron Man is kind of what prompted all of this. And so 5 years ago or 4 years ago, I set that goal. And then that was a really lofty goal and I got it. And then everything beyond that was just like, well, I mean, I'm an Iron Man. Like, right. I would always kind of default to that. That would be like my baseline. I would fall back to that. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that mentally, physically, my body is just kind of like slowly, I'm getting thinner, lighter, I should say, fatter, weaker, little by little, just like incremental percentage drops year over year. And that's when I found myself at this plateau where I needed to create a big shift.
That makes perfect sense. And yeah, we like to look at things from a micro perspective, macro perspective, so line by line, but also how things are interconnected and play out with each other. Because once you move one system in the body, all the other systems usually get affected. You came to us and you weren't like overweight or obese, right? You said like 168. I had like 172 in mind, but again, it depends when we take the starting point. So plus minus was like 13 to 15 pounds
Mhm.
that were stopping you from seeing greatness and being six pack lean.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit more on how it felt to fight with those last 10 pounds, because from my experience, after like almost 10 years as a coach, I found that a lot of guys are like, oh, I can lose weight. And they cut out booze, they walk a little bit more, they, cut
Mhm.
out some carbs or, make some small changes and they see progress. But getting rid of those last 10, 15 pounds can be really hard in my experience. What
Mhm.
was your experience there with that?
Mm, You nailed it. Like what got you where you are doesn't necessarily get you where you want to go. This was exactly that. This was like the epitome of that. I've never seen a truer illustration of that. Like doing what was required to drop the first handful of pounds was, I would call it easy in comparison to what's required to drop the last 5 to 10. You just have to be so much more dialed. There is no room for error. Uh, I fought with that because I had seen progress. And so I really did fight with that towards the end, and it just prolonged the process. You just got to be extra dialed. It can't be, hey, that's like a half cup of diced berries or whatever. Like it's a 3/4 of a cup of something. No, you have to weigh everything. Like calorically, you got to be so dialed for those last 10. That's been my experience, but from what I've heard from you and some of the others, that's everybody's experience. Everybody when they get to that last 10 has to fight extra hard. And so if I had just locked in and used the same discipline that I used in my life and my business for Ironmans and for marathons, if I had just locked in and used that same level of discipline, I'd have done it in a couple of weeks. Instead, it took me like over a month to like cut that last little bit.
Would you say it was more challenging mentally or physically?
So good. I think it was mentally because of the hurdle and creating the shift and understanding that what got you here, although it's worked thus far, is not going to get you there. And I'm like, but why wouldn't it? It's been working. So mentally, I had to create that shift. And it really helped to hear you and the other guys talk about how all of us have that like barrier that we all have to like double down on to break through. It really helped hearing it from others because then I mentally was like, oh, listen, you're not special. You're not unique. Like you have to fight through this just like everybody else. Mentally, that helped me flip the switch. And then physically, yet it definitely hurts more. Like those last few pounds hurt more than the first 15 or 20, whatever. Everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different, but physically you can endure. Like if you've made it this far, you can endure that last little bit. So I think it was harder mentally to create the shift than it was physically to just lock in and get there.
For those of you listening with, and I love, the quote that you added with what got you here won't get you there. It's kind of like these days we're so used to driving cars that are automatic, most of most cars, but if you have or if you ever drove a car that's like manual, then you shift gears, right? And can you get in the first gear at maximum speed? Maybe, I don't know. Definitely not my area of expertise, but like it's unlikely to unlikely to happen, and you're gonna burn out, right? While now you go in second gear, it's like, oh, this feels way better and way more efficient. And now second gear hits the limit, third gear, four, and it's like you eventually get to number five or number six, and that's where you go full speed there, right? And when you go to number six, like if you go too slow, it doesn't want to stay in six. So you have to go like really hard and press and fast. While the same is true here. And the reason for that is when you start 168 and you got to, let's say, 158, because you're lighter, the deficit shrinks. And as you perfectly said, you need to be dialed in more. Well, we need to increase or make the deficit bigger again for your body to use fat cells to create heat and produce energy. And when you're already high on steps, lower on calories, It's the small details that can make or break you, right? It's like that half cup here, handful of nuts there, a banana there. It's not a lot, but you know what? Every day, over a week, over a month, it will compound and that will slow down or double the length, right? So if your deficit is 400 and you miss a banana and you miss, some almonds, now the deficit is 200. Doesn't seem like a big deal, 200 calories, except that's 50% slower, which means it's going to take you twice as long. So instead
Hmm.
of a 6 week cut, it becomes a 12-week cut by just missing the bananas and the almonds daily. Crazy if we think about that.
Hmm. Yep. It was very, very like towards the end, the micro adjustments matter so, so much because, like you said, I was already beyond 12,000 steps a day. My deficit was, I was at 1,800 calories. So there was really very little room for error. A banana is 100 and whatever, 10 calories. A palm full of nuts is another like 100 calories. A spoonful of almond butter. That's all it takes to knock you out. It's like, uh, so yeah, like you've said, and like others in the program have said, like at the end, you got to be dialed. You just have to be dialed.
You're spot on, yeah. If you look back, you're doing things kind of self-taught as far as I understood with your fitness or self-managed. What what was different when you joined this program to anything you've done prior, either yourself, maybe some program or diet that you did before, but really, if you can highlight what makes the kinetic method different in from your perspective.
Mm. So I've I am the type of person that believes in coaching and mentorship and always looks to find the person who's gone where I want to go and can help me get there faster. That's always been like as a business person and then as an athlete and someone pursuing fitness. What I would often do is find the person that could help me with the thing that I needed the help with and then just dial in on that. So when I wanted to do Ironman, I hired a coach to help me with swimming, riding, and running. And then when I wanted to do marathons, the same. When I wanted to do ultra marathons, the same. Business, the same. When it came to this and this program and what you guys are teaching and helping us do, it's this body recomposition challenge that I hadn't been able to figure out on my own. There's no end in sight to the number of YouTube videos that you can tap into to find out how to cut and how to bulk. And like you'll drive yourself crazy trying to figure out what's going to work for you. Coming through the program, you guys tell me exactly what's going to work for me based on the labs, how Joey and you like interpret them. Then you customize the program, the calories, the workouts, everything that's going to get me, Gabe, to where I want to go uh, based on who I am and my physiology. That is a different level of coaching and support than I've experienced in any of these other programs. And the proof is in the results. Like I got what I came and saw. Like I got six pack lean in 150 days because I trusted the process and you guys guided me through it.
You and I appreciate you sharing that, especially from your perspective with who for as someone who takes a very detailed approach to things and not just I need some raw motivation. That's it.
Mhm.
You talked a little bit about the results. You got six pack lean in 5 months. What other things have you noticed as far as results go along this transformation, whether it's physical, mental, income, business wise? Like, have you seen any impacts there?
Mhm. My So I'll backtrack a little bit. Like, so when we were talking before about my weight, I was married in July of last year, 9 months ago, at 172 pounds, and what most would consider fit. Like, I looked reasonably fit. I was 22% when I came back. I went and I got my DEXA, and I was like, wow, I'm actually not that fit. I'm fat. Like, I'm 22%. Like so. I didn't have abs. In my mind, I'd convinced myself that I was a fit guy because I'd done all these things and these Ironmans and these races and these bike rides and all this shit. But the reality was, I was not actually that fit. So that's what prompted me to come to you guys to say, hey, let's actually get fit because I've seen what you can do. And I've seen what a lot of other guys in the program look like after they go through the program. That's what being really fit is. So maybe I was the top 10%. Now I'm the top 1%. Like that's the difference. And so with that, what's also come, aside from being the top 1% physically, aesthetically, uh, my energy is off the charts. Like that is one thing I did not anticipate. I was already a high energy guy. For anybody watching this, you can tell I am a high energy guy, but like I can not go to the gym now. I wake up so juiced, like feeling so good energetically, physically strong, healthy. Like I don't know how to not go work out now. Like every day I get up and I cannot wait to go and move weight around, move my body, walk, just my energy is off the charts. I don't know how else to say it. Like I feel incredible. And I'm 43. Like I feel better now than I did 10 years ago.
You're gonna feel even better now that you're bulking.
Yeah, now I got some calories back. I'm feeling strong. I PR'd a couple of lifts last week. Yeah, and I'm excited to see what I look like back at that 168, but lean.
Yes. Yeah. That should be like a milestone goal for you to get to 168, 170, but 10% body fat, like a 2 year project plus minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna look unrecognizable. It's
Like a warrior, physical specimen.
and at this age, I mean, 43 is not old, but by most, um, I was with, I'll share a quick anecdote. Like, I just came back. You guys talk about this a lot on calls. What someone at 22 to like 24% body fat looks like in a shirt is very, very different than what they look like without a shirt on. And so I was away with a bunch of guys a little bit younger than me, probably like 5 to 7 years younger. And we went out on a boat excursion, and they all looked very full, very, very impressive, big, younger, guys. But then when the time comes to take the shirts off, everybody's 22 to 24 to 28% body fat. And I looked insanely ripped in comparison and bigger. And they're clearly 20 to 40 pounds heavier than me, but I looked bigger at 155.
Yeah, that's the power of being six pack lean. You said it perfectly. A lot of guys they walk around juicy, beefy at 20%, 25. And
Mhm.
as you said, in clothes, in a suit, they look really good. Like they walk, broad shoulders, thick
Yeah.
neck, big chest, big arms. Like, wow. But when they take their shirt off, like there's no muscle separation, there's no conditioning, there's no definition, and it just looks very average. It looks like you're almost disappointed. You expect that guy to come and it's like, wow, that's going to be a monster. And then you're just disappointed. It's like, yeah, he's just a teddy bear.
Yeah, it's hard to know if they lift like what level of well, first of all, I know that the level of discipline isn't there because I know what it takes to get six pack lean. So I can without a doubt say I am the most disciplined amongst this group because I know that I'm making the hard decisions, they're making the easy decisions. But then also
I
like
love that.
are they fit? Like, are they genuinely active? Are they fit? Like, do they go to the gym and do a push-pull legs, like kind of split 3 days a week to just maintain this like average-ish looking, like just slightly above average-ish looking build? I think the answer is probably yes. Like, but I know that the recognition that I received, that's not why we do it, right? Like most of why we do this is internal. But I got a lot of love for how I looked amongst other guys who looked decent. And so I think that that says a lot. Like when you're the 1% amongst the top 10 or 20% and you're being commended for the work that you do, that's huge. And most people would have said like me 20, 15-ish pounds ago was already fit. Like I was the top 20, maybe even 10% of the people that I walk around with. But like to be the top 1% is something completely different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, you're 40 plus, they're in their 20s. So being like being fit in your 20s is not that impressive, but the older you get, it becomes more impressive. Just like if you're rich in your 50s, 60s, it's almost expected. Like rich is maybe the wrong word, but that you make some sort of good money. It's like, yeah, you've worked your entire life. Like if you did a few right moves, you should be where you should be. Like that's just the normal path. And
Hmm.
so the older you get, the more it's expected that you make good money. And the less it's expected that you're in great shape. So vice versa, if you're young and you're fit, it's to be expected just as you're young and you don't make that money. So if you're young and you make a lot of money, then it's the less expected thing. But staying on the topic of fitness, the older you get, the less it is expected you're fit, and the more impressive it is to have a six pack. So you not only being in better shape than they are, but being 20 years older than they are makes it like way more impressive and sets the bar at a complete different level for them.
Hmm. Yeah, the things like as you get older, things compound. Like when it comes to your wealth, like your wealth compounds over time. And so if you're just in the game long enough, you ultimately wind up there financially. And a lot of the guys that are going to ultimately watch this and come into the program are CEOs, they're entrepreneurs. They get that. The opposite is true, like you just said, about your health, your wellness, your fitness. Like that shit will compound in the wrong direction if you let it, like decade after decade making these like incrementally bad decisions, like you wind up dying early. That's the simple fact. But if you draw a line in the sand, you take your health, your wellness, your fitness seriously, and you don't have to do Ironmans and all the nonsense that I'm talking about. Like that's outrageous and nobody's called to, I shouldn't say nobody, like most people are not called to do that and that's okay. But you should give a shit about how you look and how you show up for your team, your family, your kids. I know that at 50, I will be fitter than I was at 40. Like that's just a commitment that I've made mentally. And now with your help, uh, I know that I know what it looks like. I know it's possible, and I know that I can only ever continue to get healthier and healthier as I get older. There's no reason that I can't.
100%. Let's go a little bit deeper into two, three things that you're doing that have helped you get rid of those last 10, 15 pounds.
Mhm.
So, if you could restart your journey from scratch with the knowledge of today, what would be something you do differently?
Uh, so I would have been less defiant. Like we talked a little bit about this before we started rolling, but like as an entrepreneur, I'm just genuinely, generally a very defiant person. The same things that make me, successful in business hurt me in a lot of other areas because of that. And so I push a lot. I really want to know why I'm doing stuff, why I'm being asked to do stuff, why I'm being told to do things. And so I probably did that a little too much throughout the course of the journey. And over the course of the 150 days, I know that there were like 2 week blocks where I pushed back and I probably just spun my wheels over the course of those weeks when I should have locked into the process. I know, trust, and believe the process works, but it's human nature. And like in those seasons, those like mini 2 week long seasons, I forgot. And then I would push back and I'd be like, but like, why are we bumping my calories back up? Like, why this? Why that? And so I regret doing that those like couple of times. If I had it to do again, I'd have just pushed through and continued to do what you guys had asked me to do the way you had asked me to do it because it ultimately worked once I did it. So I would say that's probably the biggest takeaway is
Sorry to interrupt you. Just to clarify, you're not saying that you regret asking why, you regret pushing back too much on like, do I really need to do that? Could I do something else, right? Because in my
yeah.
opinion, the why, there's nothing wrong with that, asking the why. You should. I want to know the why of a lot of things.
Yeah, I asked why. I got the answer, but then I still resisted.
Okay,
And
I
and
see what you're
that
saying.
I own that. That's where I needed to listen, say, hey, you got the answer. It wasn't the answer you wanted, or maybe it was, but now you've got the answer. Now let's move forward. Instead, I ruminated on it. I spun my wheels. I dragged it out. I didn't track the calories for 2 days. Like little nonsensical things that just compounded in the wrong direction. And usually it was about like 2 weeks at a clip. And I can recall doing this 2 or 3 separate times, especially towards the end, where it was like, now you got to really dial it in to the point where Rob had to send me the video, more than one video of you guys talking about what the last 10 pounds looks like. And like it's important to see that, for me to hear that, because then I got to flip that switch mentally. Like, listen, you can resist all you want, but you're not going to make progress until you like accept that the next 10, it wasn't 10 pounds at the time. I think I probably had 5 to go, that the last 5 pounds, they're going to hurt and you're going to have to do this way. Uh, so yeah, that's, and of course, like I said, I own that. That was my own fault. And that's something that it sounds like a lot of guys struggle with. And so if you're watching this video and you find yourself at that place, just flip the switch. Just flip the freaking switch and go.
How did you flip the switch?
That last video that Rob sent me, where you were outlining these last 10 pounds and there were other guys chiming in, and I was sitting there listening to their experience, a lot of them saying what I'm saying right now, how like they just pushed back for a week or a month, and it just like prolonged that the last bit of the cut. Me hearing that made it very, very clear. Like, you're not unique, bro. You're not going to get the outcome some special way. You're going to get the outcome doing what everybody else has done. So stop thinking that like you got some magic solution here, that you're going to figure it out in some less painful way. Like, just lock in and do what everybody else did, and you will get what everybody else got.
Mm. Yeah, I often say, like, guys, if we had a faster way, more effective way, an easier way, you think we're gonna hold that back? There's no fucking upsell. It's like we would give it to you right away. So this is the easiest, fastest, most effective way. Otherwise, we would give it to you guys, right?
Yeah, yeah. That video was, it was super well timed. I hope that what I'm saying right now, if it finds somebody who's in that same season in their journey, that they also hear this from me. I'm not the only one. Like, you had brought on 3 or 4 other guys who all had to push through that last 5 to 10 pounds, and they all had the same experience. Like that, just it's just you got to dial it in. That's it. You cannot do what you did to get here to get where you want to go. It's just not going to work. Now's the time where you got to weigh everything, weigh every ounce, every freaking bite.
Yeah, well, I already love this interview here, and I'm very, very certain that it's going to help many guys for many years along the journey, just to mentally see what what they have to overcome and what the solution is. And just hearing your experience will be very, very inspiring, and having hopefully a lot of aha moments for them as well, just like you had listening to the others.
Mhm.
What would you say is something that helped you get back on track? Like, I always like to say the best of the best get off track. There's nobody that's going to be perfect across the journey, not the coaches, nobody.
Mhm.
And the thing is, when guys get off track, usually what they do is like, oh, I'm off track. It's kind of like you have a flat tire. And what they do is they take the knife and stab the other 3 tires.
Yeah.
And that will just derail your progress for weeks and months. And if you do that long enough, that's the best way to stay fat, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's what I always like to say. Like, you can have a setback, you can get off track, you take that flat tire, you change it, and you continue driving, right? So, given that context, what would you say was something that has helped you getting back on track when you were off track?
The So there's like, I guess there's 2 ways to think about it. Like, I've always really thought like a setback is a setup for a comeback. So I always think of it that way. I'm like, okay, this is not really a setback. This is setting me up to progress. So I think that part I was good with mentally. What I was not good with, which I've heard you say many times on calls, is like I would throw away a whole day because of one misstep. And that can really derail you. And especially if you do it for days on end. So I started telling myself, don't throw away the day. So if I am just like famished and it's the middle of the day and I had to work through breakfast and lunch and I wind up eating something I should not have eaten, that's not like my excuse to throw away the rest of the day or throw away a whole weekend, right? Like if you slip up on a Friday, it doesn't mean you get to fuck off all the way through Sunday. Like just don't throw away the day. I kept trying to tell myself that, like get back on track quick. One bad meal does not a bad day make. One bad day does not a bad week make unless you let it. So for me, I was pretty good about like reining it back in very quickly. Like there were probably a half dozen cheat meals where I just blew the wheels completely off. And I was like, all right, but I'm not taking the rest of the shit home, right? Like I treated myself to a lasagna on a rough Sunday night, and then I had half of the lasagna from the restaurant to take home. I did not take it home. I was like, I'm not gonna eat this shit tomorrow and like, turn today into a bad tomorrow. So I was like, if I cheated and that's what I did, own that tonight and then move forward tomorrow. Have a shitty workout in the morning because you're gonna feel fat and bloated. But after that, get back on track.
I love that. I love the mental rules that you set up and the mantra with, this will not fuck up my day, this will not fuck up my day, and just reframing that. And also the lasagna example, like I met Jeremiah last month in Sarasota at the real estate event, and we went for dinner, and there was like, we had like a bowl, and then after we wanted some dessert, he got like a brownie and he had like two bites and he's like, I'm gonna throw it away. And I'm like, why would you do that? He's like, well, if I don't throw it away, I'm gonna eat the entire thing. So when I want something sweet, then I take one, two bites and then I throw it away. And because it's just the flavor, the bites,
Yeah.
it's usually the first one, two bites that you want. You don't want the entire thing many times. And it was so big. It's like, I never thought about it. Maybe not the best way, like if we look at people who are starving in that regard, but
Mhm.
for that example, for someone that has poor self-control, and I can speak from experience, it's really good. Just throw it away, and that's it. Because otherwise, if you take it back to the hotel or take it home, you'll have it tomorrow, and now it becomes a massive chain reaction, as you said, which we want to
Yeah.
avoid, right?
Yeah. I think that like we I too have poor self-control. We haven't talked about it on this call, but I'm in recovery. And so I was an addict and an alcoholic for many, many years. I now know that I don't have that level of self-control. If I expose myself to those people, places, and things, I am very likely to backslide. And it's not going to be a little slip up. It's going to be a massive slip up. So I keep myself away from those things. The same is true of excuse me, the same is true of carbs and sugars and seed oils. Like if I have them, I'm not just going to have a little bit of them. Like I need to keep them out of my pantry. I need to keep them out of my home. If I want a snack, if I want a cheat meal, I need to go somewhere, eat half of it and throw the rest away and come home back to my dominion where I can control the guardrails. Like I have guardrails at home. And so I think that if people find themselves slipping, day in and day out, and it's compounding and you're turning bad days into bad weeks, like chances are you don't have the guardrails in place. You need to create some friction. I mean, I could speak to this for hours, right? Like when it comes to addiction and stuff, like it's just a rule that we know. You can't have one party in a household get sober. Like both have to commit. Otherwise, it's impossible. So the same is true if you're trying to get fit and your wife is like putting dessert in front of your face every night after dinner, you're gonna have a really hard journey, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. And you nailed it perfectly because I'm very similar where my environment needs to be set up for success. Otherwise, it's really gonna drag me into the ruts, and it's gonna be very hard for a comeback. Like I had a friend from one of my best friends from Switzerland. He visited me, and he brought like a suitcase full of chocolate, and there were like I don't know 20 pounds of chocolate that would have lasted minimum 6 months for a normal person. Within 3 weeks, that shit was gone. Yeah, I would just eat like one entire thing every day. I cannot open it. It's like, oh, I'm gonna take one bite with dinner. Not gonna happen. I'll open it like the moment I see the fridge, it's like there's that much. Like one of the guys in the group said it's like a dog that's unleashed. That's exactly it. It's not just a dog. It's like a lion unleashed, right? It's like I see that. It's like I see red, like the
Yeah, yeah,
Spanish
yeah.
toros. I see it exactly like that. So knowing that, right, rather than doing some hypnosis and all that stuff, it's like just don't keep it in the house. That
Mhm.
easy. And then if I want it, as you said, I go out, I have a small piece of it or a bigger one, but that's it. I can control it. I have to, put my shoes on, go out, walk there, drive there, order it, wait and have it. It's like, it's not worth it. But if it's here, it's
Exactly.
like, oh, I just need to open and grab the pantry. Like easy to access, easy to consume. It's that simple, right? So
Mhm.
we don't want that out of sight, out of mind, and that's really, really important. So we're 100% on the same page here.
Yeah, it's too convenient. And you won't put your shoes on, get dressed, get in the car, drive however far it is to get, like, more often than not, you just won't do that. And if you do that, then I guess you really wanted it. Just make sure you get what you wanted and then you throw the rest away. Get just that little whatever bite to satiate you, and that's it. I did that for me. One of my version of chocolate is ice cream. And so
Oh,
I made a commitment to not have ice cream through my cut. I had ice cream for the very first time 2 days ago after my cut. And I feasted, man. I feasted on ice cream. But like I knew that if I allowed myself that throughout the course of my cut, it would have completely derailed me. There's nothing good about ice cream except that it tastes really, really, really good, but there's nothing good for you there. And so I went out of my way to get it. I waited 5 months to have it. It was great. And now I'm right back on track. Like I got what I needed.
yes. No, it's exactly how I described it. And also like I think to wrap this up, a lot of people they reward themselves too easily in the
Mm,
sense of I want ice cream, I'm gonna get it. No, 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 no. Like you want ice cream, you walk 15,000 steps today and you hit a new low this week and then you get the ice cream. Like let's set
mhm,
it up conditional, not I'm gonna have it whenever I feel like. Because the people who have ice cream daily and watch TV daily, are they happy? They're not. They're
mhm,
miserable.
mhm.
But when you set it up and it's like, once I do this, then this, like, don't book a vacation until you have a six pack. You know how fast you're going to get six pack lean? The entire family is going to be pressuring you, right? It's like, it's going to be massive. So why don't we do it like that? It's like, okay, once I get abs, then I'm going to buy a new pair of shoes or I'm going to go on vacation or, once I hit the new low, then I'm going to get this. And now it's much more rewarding and fun versus I'm going to get it whenever I want. That's just the way I see it.
I couldn't agree more. We need to create some hurdles. We have to earn the things. They're more valuable to us if we earn them than if we're gifted them. I think that's true of just anybody. I mean, there's no shortage of examples of lottery winners that go broke, right? Like they were just gifted it. They
Yes.
didn't earn it. Like I will not lose these abs because I earned these abs.
Yo, I agree. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for jumping on and delivering this great talk, great conversation. It was not very tactical, but very insightful from a psychological basis. And I believe a lot of guys will be inspired from your talk over the years. We should do part two just for the addiction part.
Yeah, yeah. Happy to talk openly about it. And I hope that this serves others. And I thank you for what you guys have done. For me, it's been it's been an incredible journey. I thought I was fit before I came to you, and now I know I'm really fucking fit.
And that's just level one. Now you put on muscle, you do mini cut, and then the version 2.0 of you will smoke the current version of you.
At 43, 44, 45, it's hard to believe that I can be leaner, fitter, bigger, stronger than I was 10 or 15 years ago. But I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm excited for it. All right, man. Thank you so much once again. And I really enjoyed this conversation.